15 things you can do to AI-proof your life. This has become a very unpredictable time, so we want to make sure that we're in that top 10%, doing the right things, skilling up accordingly. Let's get going here. Number one, become the orchestrator, not the operator, okay? The people who get replaced are the ones doing that repetitive execution. The ones who survive direct the work. So if you follow an SOP every day, you are prime for being replaced. Anything that can be written down as a list, high risk. The person who designs the SOP, much more protected in the long run. They're more of an architect of design of operation. Very important. Number two, make sure you build relationships. Wherever you go, relationships keep you AI and recession proof, not just skilling up. Some people are skilling up at home. They think they're doing all the right things. They have a zero network. You have to be careful. Okay, skills, depending on which ones they are, we don't always know, but they can be commoditized. Clients, people, when they trust you, when they rely on you to solve problems, you aren't going to be replaced by a single tool or a suite of tools. You want to be the one that they are looking at you as the go-to person, and they don't care if you use AI. As long as you're getting jobs done, they're going to let you handle that. And if you're doing it right, you probably can handle it 10 times faster than you used to, but you still need to maintain those client relationships. Number three, start stacking your skills horizontally. Specialists are easier to automate right now than generalists who connect the dots across different domains. When you are narrow and stacking vertically, you are a specialist. When you are horizontal, you're more of a generalist. I was talking last week on the show how I'm doing marketing for 5, 6, 7 years, but now I'm doing sales. Now I'm doing HR. Now I'm doing customer service, or at least I'm capable in those areas. That's why we like people to become full stack marketers. We don't teach you to be a video editor. We don't teach you to be a copywriter. We don't teach you to be a meta ad specialist. We teach you to be good, if not great at all of them. And now that AI is here to support you, there's no reason why you can't be great at all of them. A lot of these gaps have been closed, and there's no real excuse for being subpar, especially if you want to be top 1%. If you want to have an extraordinary life, you're going to have to push yourself, but this is going to make you much harder to replace versus someone who's just doing SEO or just editing videos for YouTube or just designing websites. Like, you got to get out of that mentality. Number four, this is a leverage principle. Build income you control, right? You don't want to be a W-2 employee for the next 10 years. You're at high risk. One boss, one decision maker, they can fire you. If you have a more of a client-based life right now, 3, 5, 7 clients, no one single decision wipes you out. And sometimes they don't want to lay you off or fire you. It's just a matter of circumstances, costs, realities of the way the world is going. And even business could be going out of business, right? We can't say for sure, but you need to distribute your risk a little bit. And you can do that by having multiple income sources. And look, if you don't do clients or you don't want to just do clients, that's fine. Why don't you have a digital product? Why don't you have a YouTube channel? Why don't you sell some ebooks? Why don't you get a job at the school? Why don't you become a part-time advisor at some other local company? Like, you can do different things to build income sources. It doesn't just have to be clients. All right, number 5, pretty obvious one, right? Learn to prompt and direct AI, okay? You got to do this. You got to spend time on it every night. I'm spending time. I'm creating new prompts. I'm building tools with prompts. I'm saving prompts. I'm improving prompts. I'm actively doing this on a daily basis. I think it's very important. Don't learn how to code. Learn how to use AI to code for you, right? Use AI as a force multiplier, as leverage to go faster and save you time. The gap between people who use AI well and the people who don't use it, it's widening, right? Some people are going to be left behind and they're going to wonder what happened. They're not even paying attention. Some people are still crying about how much water, the GP used to cool the servers down or whatnot. I hear that, but there's other issues for us as individuals to worry about, and we don't want to create some sort of narrative for ourselves like, oh, I'm going to become anti-AI. Not a great idea. Okay, this is a big one. This is a really big one. You really want to be selling more of an outcome. You don't want to be pricing by the hour. What good is it to price by the hour? Because people are going to start realizing that, well, how do I know what you did for an hour? And if you use a full hour, couldn't you do a lot more? Like, if I'm paying you by the hour, I want you to run the prompt 50 times. Like, how fast can you click the buttons? It's more important that you think about outcomes. And if you're currently selling hours or time, like, AI is making that time worth less. And people aren't going to be trustworthy that people are actually doing hours. They're going to be like, well, you probably used AI and you saved a lot of time and then you took half an hour off. I'm not really getting an hour. But in the end, what's going to happen is people will only care about outcomes. They'll only care about results. And it doesn't mean results in a money sense. It just means the job is done. If you can get the job done in 5 minutes, I don't care. Go on with your day, right? And that's why the request model with the OPMA is very powerful, because someone's going to make a request. They're not going to make 3 requests in one day. They're going to make 1 request at a time. If it takes you 10 minutes, great. If it takes you 2 hours, so be it. Maybe it's not an AI process, but if you got it done, that's the most important thing. This is a very nuanced one, but it's important. And that's moving towards judgment work, not so much task work. This is an overarching idea that you want to think about. Tasks, that's what gets automated. Task has an SOP, a guide. Anyone can do it. We see Claude Cowork coming out. We see ChatGPT Codex. We see OpenClaw. We have Claude Code. We have these agentic tools that can follow instructions, see the screen. They're going to be doing that, but they lack judgment. And they also don't always know what to do when something's wrong or something's changed. And judgment can also be about design and quality and brand and style and aesthetic and what's cool, right? AI doesn't always know what that is. And so if you're able to make good judgment, great. And so maybe spend a bit more time in trends, spend a bit more time, reading cool magazines, looking at art, what's happening at the edge of the artistic world, what's cool. This is something to think about. All right, number 8. Hey, this is a tough one for people, but you might want to build an audience now before you need one, right? Sometimes we kind of flip-flop over whether this is something we should do, right? Like, it is what it is, and I'm here doing it too. I'm sacrificing the time. I'm putting together the show. I have no idea who's out there watching right now, but I'm here, and I'm trying to be consistent, and that's how you do it, right? People get to know you as that person who puts out that particular type of media or content. So content kind of becomes a bit of a safety net, right? If your job was gone, like, you're fully in control of your content. If you're doing it on the side, you could do 5 times as much if you no longer had an 8-hour shift to go to or whatnot. Content also means there's people out there that you can reach. Like we said earlier, relationships. So that's really a pretty strong argument for getting going. And look, if you want to start faceless for a while, go for it. But I find that it's important to really get over your fears and to be weird and to be funny looking and to sound funny and to have quirks. Like, think about the mistake I made earlier in the live show. I mean, it's like, should I quit? Should I give up? Like, it's going to happen to everybody. We're all one-person shows. At least when we start out, it's going to happen. You're going to make mistakes, right? Here's a good one. Create recurring revenue structures. One-time projects, fragile. Retainers and subscriptions create predictable cash flow that can survive the turbulence of the market. Predictability feels good. It enhances your survivability. If we never know like what's going to happen day to day, we feel stressed. We start making radical decisions. We don't stay consistent. We feel afraid. Predictability helps that. I kind of mentioned this one earlier, but it's kind of a different version. But develop taste. Taste. This is something AI does not replicate well. AI is good for volume, but humans curate taste. What is cool? What's good? And if you can look at 10 different AI outputs, you might have the ability to determine which of those is the best. Instead of just putting out the sloppiest one, it's like, yeah, that actually works. Whether a human or AI wrote that, that's actually pretty cool. I think taste is something underrated, and I think a lot of people lack taste. At least that's what I see. And I think the more you've grown up in the West, the more taste you have, because taste is kind of a luxury. Like brand is kind of a luxury. If you go to the East, China, Southeast Asia, India, like they don't have as much access to taste. There's less economy there. It's more about mass volume. There may be lower incomes. There's no ability to access taste. Maybe the media was different, and maybe it's a byproduct of materialism. I don't know, but if our jobs are gone to AI, but we still have taste, I can promise you there's something you can do with that. And, you know, when people hire you, whether it's for like client work or a job, they're going to want to know that you have taste. They might know, hey, we're going to use AI for these processes, but you need to make sure that we don't look dumb. You know, and I think that's one of the most important things in marketing is that if you're touching media, if you edit someone's videos, if you edit their podcast, like don't make them look dumb, make them look cool. So important. Number 11 on the AI proof list is stay close to revenue. The further you are away from the money in any type of organization, the more expendable you become. That's why marketers, salespeople, and strategists who directly influence revenue, they're the last to go. Very hard to say, you know what? Let's just not have those people anymore, right? But even you're in accounting, you're in legal, you're in human resources, you're in delivering products, like you're down the line, you're more at risk. Number 12, it's important to build great systems, not just services. And this is about systemizing how you are delivering to people, whether it's your own internal processes, your templates, your frameworks. These help you save time and ultimately become scalable. And scalability means more income or more time, more capability. And people who do this, they don't get replaced, they get promoted. If you're the one designing those SOPs, those frameworks and templates, you are a key player. And then whether it goes to an agent, a VA, an employee, they are the ones just receiving that power from those resources. Invest in proof of work. Now that everybody can do so much, the more proof of work you have, the better. We're talking about case studies, documenting your work and your results, testimonials, public track records, reviews. The world is going to be flooded with AI-generated credentials and claims. And so we want verified proof of results or outcomes. This will help you become a differentiator. All right, number 14. If you're building your own business, treat AI like your first hire, not your replacement. Reframe the threat. Be the one using AI, not the one replaced by it. So every freelancer, every one-person marketing agency operator, you should be thinking, how does AI let me serve my clients better, faster? Not how is AI coming to get me? Reframe, start utilizing. That comes back to practicing, developing skills around AI. Last one, went through them pretty quick. Number 15, move faster. Don't get comfortable, okay? The people who get caught up in this are the ones who are sitting around waiting. Comfort is your real threat. If you're not actively learning, adapting, and experimenting right now, you are technically falling behind. There are young people, there are action takers who are building applications, building entire marketing campaigns in a day, training agents, and they may not be perfect, but give them another year. Then where will they be? If I've already created 5 different applications, where will I be in 2 years? Probably at 50. And you might just be getting going on your first 1 or 2. And that's why that gap widens. All right, I hope you enjoyed my 15 tactical 5D life chess moves to stay AI proof. We brought it up. I forget what number was it. Number 8, build an audience. Look, if you want to start creating content, which I know can be hard, but it's important. It's time consuming. But I've done something that's really useful that I'm using that I finally like. I was hesitating around this area for a long time, but it's using AI to generate ideas, to generate drafts, to do the work you don't want to do, to maybe frame out a script. The key to it all is that it sounds like you. And not only that it sounds like you, but you stay consistent. And so you want to build a system around yourself to get AI outputs that serve you in this area. So if you check in the link in the description, I've got my link to my brand voice and consistency toolkit. It's 5 prompts that will really help you. It takes about an hour and a half to get going. You interview yourself for about 30 to 40 minutes. You grab some of the work you've already done in the past. You build out a voice document. You also spend a little bit of time on who you serve, what you do. You spend a little time about who you want to work with, who's your ideal client. And you give it a little bit more information maybe about how often you can work on stuff, like what are your constraints. I gave it like a screenshot of my calendar. It built me this perfect content calendar for 90 minutes a day. If I just stick to it, I get my live stream, I get a YouTube video, I get my email newsletter, I get 2 Instagram posts. So go get it, it's free. And then if you want the entire prompt kit, there's about 44 prompts. And if you want to spend some time with me learning AI and all these things, I do live streams on Wednesdays and Fridays for members only. You can go to richux.com and you can sign up for OPMA AI. It's not just for marketers, it's very valuable for everybody. I've demoed how to build apps. I've demoed the content creation. I've talked about building websites. There's going to be much more to cover. We're just getting going. The price is still pretty reasonable for what you get. You're going to get access to community, people who are really serious about building in the AI world. And really, this is the pathway to becoming a 100x human. For us, we're mostly marketers, but no matter what, you need to future-proof your life and protect your livelihood. Things are getting crazy out there. It's happening fast. It's hard to keep up. Build relationships, build a network, build skills all in one place. I'll take care of you. If you like what I'm doing here, you'll definitely like being a part of that and being closer to me and all the other people who are getting pretty serious about AI.